Welcome to At Home Is Now. My name is Wanako Oberhuber, and I'm your host. My guest today is Craig Goldberg. Welcome to the podcast. My name is Wanako.
Oh, I'm here, and I got a delay because I'm watching our live on the other side. That's no good. Hi. Thanks for having me with a little technical trouble here right at the beginning. Honored to be here, and I appreciate you.
I'm so happy to have you too. And I'll start out with my question that I like to put at the beginning so that we can get deeper into the subjects that come up. So, what are you all excited about at the present, and how does it contribute to your joy and happiness in your life?
I mean, where to start? All right, let's take it from the most foundational, and then we'll move to the more esoteric. I woke up today. That's awesome. I get another day of life. It's something that in this household we celebrate every single day with gratitude, appreciation, and excitement that I get to do this again today, and I get to be a human, having a human experience again for the foreseeable future. Still here now. Looks like I'll be here for the next hour, and we'll just take it hour by hour. And I'm honored and excited to create and to be here. I think it's really easy for us to get caught up in the length of lifespan that we have instead of the presence, to know that this is the present moment and this is why we're here, to feel and experience and share in this exact moment. And I'm just honored to be alive and to continue with this incredible human experience until I can't. My goal is 150 years. I just celebrated my 47th birthday. I'm in my 48th year around the sun, and gosh, it is just so good to be alive, no doubt. Dinners with my family, coffee in the morning with my parents and my wife, my daughter off to school. Like, life is just a gift, and I am honored and grateful for every moment that I have here on earth. I think as we go a little further into kind of, I mean, just look at what you do and what we're talking about as far as harmonics and harmony in the world. And God knows we need more of it, right? I think immediately when I look at this harmonics of peace and what that looks like, of what it means to get along and spend time and invest in the life experiences that we get to have here. And what I've been studying for the last 10 years and what I've been sharing for the better part of the last 15 years is about living a healthy life, how to optimize your human performance each and every day so that you can make today better than yesterday and tomorrow better than today. And I'm honored to have a platform, and I'm honored to be able to share little life hacks, little things that I've picked up along the way that have made my life better, and hopefully will make your life better as well. And to have a bunch of people watching us live, what an honor to serve, an honor to be here. And again, just grateful to be alive.
That's very exciting to hear, and I'm very excited to find out how it came to this, because it's not something that everyone is used to, being thankful for every moment of life. So I suspect there must be something that led up to seeing the world that way, the way you do now.
Look, I'm 47 years old. I've dealt with a lot of grief. I've dealt with a lot of loss. Just 3 months ago, one of my parents' best friends didn't wake up. Went to bed, didn't wake up. My wife's best friend took her own life 2 years ago. Just a week ago, a 14-year-old niece of a dear friend of mine took her own life. That's before accidents happen and we're jet skiing and the jet ski malfunctions and like accidents and cars. And you know how many times I've jaywalked in my life in New York City with traffic flying by me and walked away unscathed? Who's to say that my next time jaywalking is my last time doing it? Look, this life is fleeting in a lot of ways, and it's abundant in a lot of other ways. And I decided not too long ago that I'm going to celebrate every single day and every single moment as it may be my last. And when you reframe how lucky we are to be here, and you start to look at life as the opportunities that I have to breathe and experience this beautiful planet, you can't help but live in peace. You can't help but live in and with a positive outlook. Look, it's easy to go the other way. It's easy to have a pessimistic outlook. It's easy to be paranoid and think the world is ending and crashing down. And there's certainly enough news outlets that want you to think that way. But at the end of the day, we don't know how long we're going to be here. All we can do is suffer from an insatiable case of pronoia, which is the world is unfolding for me and with me in every step of the way that I take, and every step that I take. And it's only so much loss that you need to deal with in your own life personally to know that our time here is limited, and we're here to have this human experience. We're here to literally experience the emotional roller coaster that we call life, and that's why we're here. And yes, it's nice for us to do good along the way and do good by our neighbors and make the world a better place. At the end of the day, we're here to experience exactly what we're experiencing in the manner in which we're experiencing it. Like, that's why we're here, from my perspective. And that's just my perspective. But having an opportunity to soak up and squeeze the juice out of life is, in my opinion, why we're here. And it's a beautiful existence when you look at it through that lens.
Yeah, that I think that's what leads a lot of people to be thankful, is when they realize, oh my, this moment isn't something I can take for granted.
You know what? So it's funny. So, all right, every morning, you ever seen like the sci-fi movies where they put you in cryogenics for like 3-4 years and you fly to another galaxy or whatever, right? And the scene where they wake up and that they get that first breath of air coming out of the cryogenics, and they're like, like, where am I? I kind of wake up every morning like that. Like, literally, like, oh, I'm in my bed. Oh, my daughter's here. Oh, my wife, my parents. Cool. It was just a dream. And I get to charge life, and I get to get after it. It's that level of excitement that I charge every single day for and look forward to every single day. And that belief system and that mechanism of that perspective through that lens, it fires me up every single day to just give it my all and literally look at today as it's my last day. What do I want to be doing if today was my last day? Creating content, sharing, teaching, creating legacy, spending time with my daughter who's now at school, my wife, my parents, those little conversations, presence, and getting after it every single day. And it's awesome.
Okay, then let's go into the content that you like sharing, because that's obviously something you're excited about as well.
I mean, you're the guide. You take us there, and let's get into it. I'm following your lead.
Yeah, so you call your company inHarmony. So I would like to hear more about that.
Look, we're on a mission to help humanity to rest and relax through sound, vibration, and light. And when you think about this beautiful and incredible society that we've co-created, it is littered with stress and anxiety. Like, I don't know about you, but I got a to-do list that's a mile long. And it doesn't matter how many things I slash off it every single day. It feels really good to do that, by the way. There's just more to do in a day than there is time to get it done. I got a stack. I literally have a stack of mail. This is one of my least favorite things to do. It's literally just here, we need your RV. Like, current sender. Like, this isn't even addressed to me and it's in my mailbox. I got to take the time to throw it out. Right? Like, we have more to do in a day than we have time to get done. And we're constantly prioritizing and reprioritizing what we can get done in that exact moment, what's most important for us to get done in that exact moment. And And this life is riddled with stress and anxiety when everything is going well. That's before you get a flat tire on the way to work. That's before my daughter broke her arm last Friday, and that cleared my entire afternoon for obvious reasons. That's when everything's going right. So that stress that we feel is actually a good thing. I don't want to remove the stress. I want to remove how long you stay in that stressed and anxious state about whatever it is. I want to change the way you show up in the world. And sound and vibration is a phenomenal tool to recondition your nervous system response. So instead of responding to a stressful situation with fight or flight, with survival mode, you respond to stress and anxiety with rest and digest or maintenance mode. So your body can continue to perform the way it was so beautifully designed to perform. And you can continue to get after life, just like I've been sharing on the opening of this podcast. Sound and vibration is unbelievably powerful in doing that. And my mission over the last 10 years has been to study sound, frequency, and light, its impact on our physiology, and to create and manufacture solutions that you can use in your home or your business to help people or yourself or your community or your family to remain more relaxed. And look, I'm not here to promote inHarmony. I would love to do that, and I could talk about it for hours. And I'm grateful for that. But more, what I like to talk about is the impact that we respond to and have when we're faced with this beautiful life that we've co-created, this beautiful society that we've co-created, and how I can help you change the way you look at your day. It's just like the opening in that question. I don't know how many people you've asked that question. I don't know how many people gave the answer that I did. That's exactly what came up for me as I think about what has me so excited and so jazzed. I've got customer testimonial after testimonial. There's certainly a lot of beautiful things built around the business, but the core of our business is to help humans relax more, because your downtime is as important as your uptime. You know how you feel after a phenomenal night's sleep, whatever that looks like for you. It could be 5 hours, could be 8 hours, could be 12 hours, could be in a blacked out room with no alarm and no reason to wake up. It could be 6.5 hours before you get to your morning shift or your morning routine or whatever that looks like. And I want to teach and educate on the human experience, what's actually happening in our nervous system, what's actually happening in our body that we feel each and every day, but might not understand how to interpret or might not understand what's actually happening. And a little bit of knowledge goes a very, very, very long way. And I'm honored to be here, and I'm honored to be able to share.
It's a very important topic, and it's not one that you come by right away, because you think life is the way you're experiencing it, and you don't know that it could be different, right? And you don't necessarily know if your nervous system is not regulated, harmonious or not, right? Until you find out, right? Whenever that is in your life.
You nailed it. I think I'll challenge one thing you said. I think we do know. I think we do all have an innate awareness. I don't know that we know what to do about it. I don't know that we know how to change it. And that's what I hope to change today. I think we all do understand when we're stressed and anxious. In fact, over the last 10 years, when I talk to people about what I do, the number one response that I get is, oh, I'm good. I live in a stressed state. I have stress for breakfast. I got this, right? They wear that busyness as a badge of honor, especially when you get into the entrepreneur world and the business world and the A-type personalities of the go-getter that's out there. And eventually you're going to get burnt out. We talk about it in entrepreneurship all the time. That burnout is real. Why? Because you keep going and going and going without pausing, without resting, without recharging, rejuvenating, restoring your life and your vitality. So I think the only thing that I would change in what you said is I think a lot of people do know, they just don't know what they can do about it, right? They're looking at this task list that's just endless, and they're like, I don't know what else to do except just get after it. And what I'm trying to say is that there are a number of different hacks that you can do to maximize your downtime so that your uptime can be more effective, stronger, with better creativity, with better flow, with better access to your intuition, and to know what you need to do in order to perform. And sound, light, and vibration is a really powerful tool to break the patterns that you might be in and to look, we all know when we're shortness of breath. We all know when we haven't taken a deep breath. And we all know what that feels like. You can hear my voice change just from that one deep breath and exhale. And how we can charge after life with that calm and relaxed attitude and outlook, and how much more powerful we show up for ourselves and those around us. That's the magic. The magic is your downtime is as important as your uptime. How can we figure out how to create periods of rest that allow you to truly recharge, regenerate, and allow your body to restore itself back to 100%? That's the whole point of sleep. It's the whole point of meditation and mindfulness. It's about restoration for the body and getting yourself back to 100% power output so that you can serve yourself, serve others, serve the world around you, and get after life. That's the magic.
Yeah, there's a lot to it. There's a lot to look at there when you think of coming to 100%, because there's so many different ideas of what that means out there, and so yeah. And
So
the point you made about knowing when you're dysregulated or when things are not working, let's say you may feel, you will probably know that you don't have the power that you think you could have, but it doesn't mean you know what to do with it, like you said, or what it is, or that it's something that your nervous system isn't regulated or whatever. You might not have words for that, right? You might not have descriptions. You might not understand what's going on, and so on. So yeah, perhaps you know it consciously, or perhaps you just know it from a feeling sense of it, right? Or you the idea that you don't know would be that you don't know what it's about, or you don't know what it's like when it's not there, right? When you're not.
So let me give you a few real world examples of what that feels like. Okay. Last night I laid in bed, I tossed and turned until 2:30 in the morning. Just jazzed, mind racing, never stopping. We all know what it's like to feel awake in the middle of the night and we can't sleep. And sometimes it's because I'm overstimulated. Coffee, one of my best friends. I absolutely love it. Other times it's just because my mind is racing and I need to actually get on my technology. And I've done that in the middle of the night. Being short with others when you know you're just being short and difficult and challenging, not showing up the way that you know you want to show up, right? Like we've all had these human experiences where we know we're not coming from the best place. We know we didn't handle that situation as we reflect on it. Like, oh man, I really wasn't that. I didn't mean to say that in the tone that I said it, or the manner in which I said it, or the fact that I didn't say anything and I just ignored somebody, which in a lot of ways is even worse. We all know what it feels like. I have a 6-year-old daughter. One of the reasons I was up until 2:30 in the morning is because she's got a broken arm. Cast comes off on Wednesday, and she climbed into our bed at probably 12:30. And my wife and I were chatting and downloading. My wife's been traveling for a few days, and before that I was traveling for a few days. So we were kind of just cuddling in bed and chatting and getting caught up on the week and what's been going on. And my daughter climbed into bed, and since she has a broken arm and it's bent, there's just like the three of us will sleep in bed together. I love co-sleeping. I love cohabitating. I think it's awesome. I'm a big fan of that. But with my daughter's broken arm, she's kind of got to sleep wide. She can't nestle in between us and cuddle like she usually does. So at 12:30 in the morning, I said, you know what? Mom's been traveling. Why don't you get some mom cuddle time and I'll go sleep in Harmony in my daughter's bed. So I got up and I got into her bed and I don't know, I was tossing and turning in there. Right. We all know what it feels like to not get a good night's sleep, whatever that means for you, as I said before. And if you don't get a good night's sleep, like last night, I got 5 hours. I fell asleep around 2:30. That was the last time I saw the clock. And I woke up at 7:30. That's not enough for me. I need at least 6.5. I could do 8 or 10 easy. And just to get caught up on my sleep deficit. And I woke up and I was like, cool, I have this podcast today. I've got business. I'm literally back to back from 9 in the morning until 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I know I need energy. So one of my 9 o'clock meeting actually canceled. The first thing I did is I went to my sound lounge and I did a 20-minute session, a little rejuvenation, a little power, a little energy to be brought back to me, helping me. 20 minutes on my sound lounge is equivalent to about 4 hours of sleep when you look at the different brain waves that we move you in and out of and what happens in the nervous system and the brain. So that to me is a hack, right? And now here I am a few hours later with the energy to perform, the mental clarity, and to vocalize my thoughts and to be here to serve you in this community. So we all know what it feels like to not get a great night's sleep. By contrast, we know what it feels like to get a great night's sleep or to get a series of great night's sleep, right? Where you wake up before your alarm goes off, where you have this ruthless and endless energy to get after your day. And that's what it feels like when you string together a bunch of good nights in a row of good sleep. By contrast, we also know what it feels like to string together a few nights of not so great sleep. And by that third or fourth day after not getting good sleep, you know that your 100% for that day is actually 80% of your total capacity, right? You just feel like I'm a little off, I'm a little slow, I'm a little sluggish. You reach for that cup of coffee a little bit more and a little bit more often. You reach for a second cup or a third cup that day. And it's that human experience that to me says, I'm beat, I'm run down, I need to rest. And a lot of times the reason you're getting after it, the reason you're not sleeping so well, the reason you have is because you have so much going on. And what I want to share with you is that finding downtime, finding time to rest, recharge, to meditate, to close your eyes for a power nap, whatever that looks like, is the single greatest thing that you can do. Yes, there's sun exposure, there's grounding, there's getting your feet on the grass or the dirt. There's a lot of different things that we can do from a health and wellness perspective. And that's before you even get to the biohacking side of things, of how to hack your health, rebounding, and all the different things, zone 2 cardio, exercise. There's a lot of different things that we can do to optimize the human experience, but sleep and meditation is the number one thing that you can do to give yourself the energy, the power, the stamina, the mental clarity to get after life. It's the single greatest thing that you can do.
Yeah. So what happens when that doesn't work? You try to, you go for rest, you go for all of that, and it doesn't work, right? You go for downtime, and you still don't get the benefit of getting to 100%. Is there something you've come up with that helps with that? Because that's not like everyone. There's so many people who are willing, right? Are very willing to take downtime, are very willing to sleep, to rest, and so on, and they still don't get to their 100%.
Yeah. So look, a lot of that is because so many of us are working off a sleep deficit that is so grand and so large that 1 or 2 nights of good sleep just doesn't get us there. We need more. Right? We need technology. I have a saying, technology got us into this mess, technology will get us out. What do I mean by technology? I mean LED light bulbs in our homes, heating, air conditioning, lack of sunlight. The human body, you, me, and the person that's listening to this, or the many thousands of people that are listening to this, we're supposed to be outside 85% of the day. 85% of the day. I'm not outside 85% of the day. Maybe a walk to my car, and I'm in my vehicle, and I walk to a store, whatever. We're spending most of our time inside. We are powered by the sun. So you asked a very poignant question. I want to give you a very specific answer. And that is, sometimes we need help to get into the brainwave states that are going to help us to restore, regenerate, and bring ourselves back to baseline. Sometimes we are stuck in that sympathetic nervous system response, which does not allow for sleep. Cortisol and adrenaline are flowing through your blood because you're responding to something through your nervous system, whether it's perceived threat to your life or it's an actual threat to your life. And they come in many different versions. Sound, vibration, frequency. This is our inHarmony zero gravity recliner that's behind me, amplifier at the bottom, 4 tactile transducers in the bed. When I lay down on that and I push play, I'm re-regulating my nervous system to go back into that parasympathetic nervous system response. I'm doing it passively. I'm doing it from an external stimuli and not from an internal stimuli from my nervous system, which is dysregulated. What does that mean? Dysregulation of the nervous system simply means that you are responding to your environment and going into fight or flight. You're going into that sympathetic nervous system response. You're going into survival mode. And when your body is in survival mode, it has a different set of priorities than when it's in maintenance mode, maintaining itself versus protecting itself. And when you're protecting yourself, you're on edge. When you're protecting yourself, you are looking and seeking out that threat so that you can disarm it and you can get rid of it. And for some of us, that threat never goes away. It's just moved from physical, emotional, mental, relational, nutritional, financial, all these different external stimuli that keep us stressed and anxious. When sound, vibration, meditation, mindfulness, light can help to bring us back into that parasympathetic nervous system response. I'm not changing the external stimuli. I'm changing the way your body is responding to those external stimuli. And that's where sound, vibration, music, and light come in to help re-regulate the nervous system to bring you back into that parasympathetic nervous system response. And once you get back there, it becomes easier to stay there for longer, prolonged periods of time so that you can get the rest you need, so that you can show up the way you want to show up, calm, relaxed, focused, driven, instead of stressed, anxious, spun out, and weak.
Yeah, so that's a very important aspect of it, is how to get into that rest, actually get there. And one of the ways, like you said, was with technology.
Technology, okay. Sound or music. Look, music is medicine. Whatever music you love, whatever music calms and relaxes your nervous system is medicine for you. And for some people, that's hardcore rock and roll, heavy metal. For others, it's hip hop, house music, whatever, reggae. And for me, it's inHarmony Media, and it's the music meditations that we create, which, by the way, you can stream for free on my YouTube channel. This is not we have our app, and yes, you can download it on Android and iOS, and it comes with a free 14-day full trial, full feature trial. But it's not about that. It's about going to my YouTube channel, inHarmony. You see me tagged in the comments here and logged in. Go to our YouTube channel and search for our extended music meditations. There are 11-hour music meditations that are completely free for you to stream. Put on a pair of headphones, lay yourself down on your couch, and just lose yourself in the music for as long as you can. In the beginning, that might be 5-10 minutes. That might be followed up with 20-30 minutes. It might be followed up after that to 60 minutes to an hour. And then it might be followed by the most restorative 4-hour sleep session you've had in a long time. This is years of dysregulating your nervous system that we have to contend with and correct. It might not happen in one session, or it might. You might do one session and have the deepest, most restorative, relaxing session of your life and wake up feeling revived, ready to chase after it and get it. And for others, like, look, my dad, 77 years old. That's 77 years of conditioning his nervous system to where he is today. And over the last year, he's been on the Sound Lounge just about every day. I'm proud of him. And he's getting to a point now where he's rested, relaxed, and sleeping well at night. And that's the most powerful secret, is that it can take one session and it might take a lot more. And that's what we need to stick around for, and not give up as this isn't working, but instead go, cool, I'm going to stick with this. I'm going to make sure that it took me however long it took you to get to where you're at today, and it's going to take some time to change. Now, here's the cool part. Re-regulating the nervous system takes far less time than whatever amount of time it took to regulate your nervous system into its current state. So the road to repair is always shorter than the road to despair, as I like to say.
That sounds very hopeful. So that's beautiful. I like that idea, because normally you have this idea that it's so bad that it has to take forever to get it in order,
or vice versa, right? Or somebody hears something like what I'm talking about with sound and frequency, and they don't believe it, and they go into the session not believing it, and they have one session and they throw their hands up and they go, oh, this doesn't work. This is snake oil. This is bull. When the reality is, it took you a certain amount of years to get into the place where you're at now, or months or days or whatever. And it's going to take some time to recondition the nervous system. The athlete isn't breaking world records after one day of training. In a lot of cases, it's years. And I want you to stay optimistic that that the road to recovery is going to see benefit and wins along the way. But you got to stay on that road and that path. You can't quit. You can't give up.
Yeah, I think one of the things is also the idea of solution. Solutions actually are better healing than delving into the problems. So I think that's also an important point. Like you're saying, okay, the solution for dysregulated nervous system is to provide it with the what it needs in order to go back to become regulated, but it's not about delving into why it became dysregulated in the first place.
Look, and that's very different from modern medicine. It's even different from the functional approach to treating the root cause in modern integrative health and functional health. We've been so branded and conditioned by the medical system here in the United States and abroad to treat symptoms instead of getting to the root source. And in the medical world, I think it's really important for us to understand exactly what caused it. And look, to a large degree, it's important to know if you had trauma, it's important to deal with that trauma, to refocus, reframe, and adjust to your new life. And at the same time, you're 100% correct. It's less important why you're here and more important to recognize that you are here, and it's time for you to plot a course to where you want to get to, plot a course to where you want to be, and figure out how you can get there as quickly as possible, and visualize yourself getting there and being there and living there.
Yeah, so it's not, honesty doesn't mean focusing on the problems, in other words.
No, quite the opposite. What you focus on with your brain is what you're going to put more attention to. So you don't want to focus on your problems. You want to focus on the positive outlook. Your brain does not know the difference between this reality, a visualization, or a dream. It doesn't know the difference. So when you focus on the bad, the negative, and what you don't want, you get more of the bad, the negative, and what you don't want. The universe doesn't hear don't. So like even with my daughter, when I say don't do this or don't do that, all she's hearing is do this or do that. She's not hearing at the core of her soul and her spirit. She's not hearing don't do that. She's only hearing do. So instead of telling her what not to do, I focus on telling her what to do. Instead of saying, don't do that, I'll say, here's what I want you to do instead. Hey, do this. Focus on this. I am strong. I am powerful. I am loved. I am safe. Every day and every way, I'm getting better and better and better. Every day and every way, I'm getting stronger and stronger and stronger. I want you to focus on the positive, not the negative. Because when you focus on the negative, that's all you get is negative. When you focus on the positive, every day and every way, you're going to get more and more positive.
Yeah, and well, one does need to go into that because of the depth of that goes to, because when you say focus on the positive, positive will come, that isn't always something that is a natural, nor is it something that necessarily is always something you're capable of at that moment, right? So what I'm saying about honesty, not being focusing on the problem, doesn't mean that you don't focus on what's going on right now, right? Because you're saying reframing is so important, right? But reframing actually needs you to look at what's going on and then find a different way of seeing it, right? Changing your mind about how you see what's going on. It's not about saying I'm not in pain if you're in pain. Not about saying I'm not stressed even though you are, right? It's about changing your mind about, okay, about what's going on, right? Okay, in this moment, there's actually no threat going on, right? Or changing your mind about it.
Here's the quote. Change the way you look at the world around you changes.
Exactly.
Change the way you look at the world around you changes. It's that simple. I'm not saying you completely ignore the trauma, the experience, or the knowledge that you accrued from that experience. That's an important piece of what makes you you. It does not have to be a part of your future in that same way. And one of the things that I think our technology is really powerful at is allowing the mind, body, and spirit to relax. And in that relaxed state, when you revisit those traumatic experiences, you seek out and find the value, the learning, the lessons, the compassion, the empathy, the upside. And I know it's as challenging as it can be. There's upside in everything. There's a reason it happened the way it happened, because that's what happened. And I mentioned this once before. Are you familiar with the term pronoia?
You mentioned it and explained it, but I hadn't heard that.
All right. So paranoia is the world is out to get me. Paranoia is not something you really want, in my opinion. It just echoes the negative and the bad side of the world is out to get me. Pronoia is the pendulum swinging to the other side. It's the complete opposite, that the universe is out to help me, support me, and is always unfolding for me in everything that's happening. And that's easy when you think about winning the lottery or getting hired or getting a raise or getting a bonus or closing a deal. It's more challenging, and I think more important, to remember when bad things happen to you or perceived bad things happen to you. You get fired, you get evicted, you get thrown out, right? That is a good thing, and it's happening for you, not against you. And that this is what was supposed to happen because this is what happened, with this blanket carte blanche for total faith in the fact that this perceivable negative experience is actually happening for you. As horrific as it may be, as terrible as it may be, it's the single greatest thing that's going to happen to you, and it's happening for you, not against you. And when you flip the switch and you flip the script and you change the victim mentality of this is horrible and it's happening to me to this is wonderful and it's happening to me, the way you look at the world completely changes. Completely changes. And you go from I don't have enough to I am enough, which is a band that I look at every single day. Pretty remarkable.
And of course, in Miracles, it also states all these things that you were saying, like you can't change the world, but you can change the way you see it, right? You can. So that's another one of those. So, or that trust would solve any problem that you have. Trust would solve it. If you trusted, yeah, like you were saying, that is a trust statement.
100%.
That's a trust statement to say everything is happening for my good, right? Like, of course, the Miracles also has that idea in it. But anyways,
that's easy when you see a miracle happen, right? Yeah, it's easy for me. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe how I did that. That's amazing. This is awesome. I want you to apply that same shock and awe to the perceivable bad things that have happened in your life, the perceivable loss that you felt, and we've all felt it. I opened with horrific things that I've experienced over the last few years, and the people around me have experienced. Losing a child, I can't even imagine what that's like. Losing my wife, my parents, a loved one. There's nothing worse, in my opinion. There are way worse things, but I can't even imagine. And I'm not looking back labeling that it's a good thing that it happened. No, quite the contrary. I have dedicated my life to making sure suicides happen less often. 740,000 Americans take their own lives every single year. It's a suicide every 40 minutes. I want to change that. And I'm not saying that the suicides that I've experienced and the friends and family that have taken their own life are a good thing. Far from it. It's horrific. It's horrible. And I did everything that I could in those instances to try and change that. And I'm on a mission to make sure it doesn't happen again. I'm on a mission to make sure that another person doesn't take their own life. And that's what we do at inHarmony. And it is that important. And it is that big of a mission. And it is that important that it keeps me up at night thinking about how I can do it better more often, how I can change the way that I'm thinking, how I can reword something that I'm offering so that I can hopefully touch another person, so that I can hopefully open up the minds of somebody new. One person at a time. The stages get bigger and bigger. The platforms get bigger and bigger. The message gets clearer and clearer. And that's why I'm here. For as many days as I'm here, that will be my message, balanced with spending time with my daughter, being a great role model, spending time with my wife, being a great husband, spending time with my parents, being a great son, just trying to be the best human that I can be every single day.
Yeah, the issue of suicide is actually quite an interesting one, because culturally it's seen very differently in various cultures. And there's cultures who do not depict it as something negative. So, yeah, I'm not saying I want that, but I'm just saying the stigmatizing people and families and close ones for suicides that happen, that is a big issue, right? And how do you help
So let
families
me
if you're going to stigmatize them or attack them for having someone who has suicided or
let me
chosen
share.
suicide?
Let me
That's the
share.
whole thing.
I look. I completely agree with you. And look, change the way you look at the world. The world around you changes. Maybe that's the title of today's podcast, because it's so relative. Um, there are many cultures that look at it as a positive thing. There are many cultures that look at it as a negative thing. Um, look, here's how I look at it. We are human beings having a human experience. Beyond being a human being, we are spiritual beings, meaning we are energy, emotions, energy in motion. We are here to feel and have the human experience, but we are spiritual beings having a human experience. We're here temporarily to learn, to experience something. And when it's our time to go, it's our time to go. And we don't get to decide how we go, and we don't get to decide how it feels for us to go. I think Keanu Reeves, I was just watching an interview. This is obviously my feed, my algorithm, that sort of thing. And he was on a late night talk show, and the host asked him, "What do you think happens when you die?" And he took a deep breath and he looked back and he said, "I know when we die, the people that we touched and loved will miss us dearly. Whether you go by suicide or you go by accident or you go by age or you go by disease or you go by, it's your time to leave the human experience. You've learned the things that you need to learn, and it's your time to leave the human experience, and most likely come back again in my personal belief system." And I'm not trying to point that on anybody. Your belief system is your belief system. What happens here is your belief as to what happens here, and I support it. But for me, we are all cut from the same spiritual cloth, and we are here to have a human experience, to feel the feels of being human, to learn the lessons that we need to learn. And when it's your time to go, it's time to go. And sometimes that happens by accident, and sometimes that happens by your own hand, because it's your time to go. And we don't get to decide or know or understand it. Sometimes we do. Sometimes there are letters left. Sometimes, right? Whether it's by your hand or somebody else's hand, when it's time to go, it's time to go. And we just need to be grateful for the moments that we have together and the moments that we have here on this earth walk. Because once we go back to the spiritual world, you're back in the oneness. You're back in the all-knowing. You're back in the understanding and the knowledge of what that human experience was all about. When we come into this earth walk, we pass through the veil of forgetfulness, and we are simply here to be present and to figure out why we're here and to make the best of life. When it's time to go, it's time to go, and we don't get to decide how we go.
Yeah. And I think it's important to reflect on the fact that when a person can find meaning in life, or find something to keep them going, another moment, if they're contemplating suicide, let's put it that way, just one meaning why one would live for one moment, or to the next appointment, or to the next thing, right? It's always everything that helps a person to discover a reason is probably prevents a suicide from happening, right?
Absolutely.
And whatever it may be,
Power.
it may just be for a cat. Oh, I need to take care of my cat. I don't want to go because my cat doesn't have anything, right? Whatever the reason is, even if it's the smallest reason, it's always very important.
It's a question I contemplate over and over and over again. Why are we here? What is the purpose of life? I don't have a good answer for you. I only know my perspective, and that is to be here now and experience this life in real time. The feels, the touching, the love, the emotions, good and bad, which is just a moral compass that we attach to a perception of your reality. Purpose, I think, is really important. How often do you hear about entrepreneurs who pour their lives into a business and then sell, have an exit, don't have to worry about money anymore, and just lose it because they lack purpose, they lack drive. And there's opportunity to volunteer, there's opportunity to pour yourself into religion, whatever it might be that you want to give back. But to find that purpose, yeah, to take care of a cat. My daughter has a beautiful fish. His name's Kevin. Said to her this morning as we're having breakfast, like, hey, when was the last time you fed Kevin? It had been a while. I've been feeding Kevin. Right? Like, because she's 6 and I get that. Right? So like, yeah, there's lots of different reasons why we're here. And in the simplest terms, from my perspective, is to experience life, to get out and enjoy it, to go meet people, to talk to people. And if you don't want to meet people and you want to stay in your house, that's fine. Stay in your house. Get out on your patio, get some sunshine, get out to the beach, feel life, take care of others, take care of yourself. But we're here to experience life, whatever it throws at us, good, bad, the ugly. And of course, the brilliance and the beauty as well.
Yeah, and there's people who are going through things where they can't do any of all of that, right? So what do you think about that? Because it's also, we would like to see that every life is valuable, no matter what experience they're going through, no matter what they can't do or can do, right? And it's very easy to speak from a perspective of I can do anything, right? And I can choose to experience all of this. But when you are in a place where you can't do that, right, because of various things, doesn't mean that you're stuck, because like one says, a prison, it doesn't have to be actual walls, right? You can be imprisoned by all kinds of things. And not because you're stuck somewhere doesn't mean that you're not free you can't be free in your mind, one says, but it doesn't mean that that's always an option, right? You can't. And so the meaning to find value in actual existence is so important as well, independent of what you're capable of or not.
You nailed it. There are evil forces on this planet, and there are people that are subjected to horrific things every single day. And there are people that are stuck in their own mind that is presented. That's without even external factors of negativity and people. Look, there are people kidnapped every day. There are people held beyond their capabilities, child trafficking, sex trafficking. There are people that are forced into that life, and there are other people that choose to go into that life. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. You want to make sure it's not a train. That light at the end of the tunnel is usually light at the end of the tunnel, and you have the power to change your life. You have the power to change the way you look at the world around you. You have the power to change what the tomorrow is going to look like for you, regardless of what situation you're in, regardless of how horrific or horrible it sounds. There are people that have been there. There are people that have made the best of it, and there are people that have gotten out of it. And you can too. Change the way you look at the world around you changes. And I know that there are some very difficult situations, and there are very difficult places where we find ourselves mentally, emotionally, physically, relationally, nutritionally, medically. And you have the power right now to change what the next moments and tomorrow is going to look like for you. And sometimes we feel like a prisoner in our life, in our world, in our perception, in our reality. And I want you to know that there are ways for you to change everything about you, who you are, what's around, what's happening to you, what's happening for you. And we all have the ability to do that. I know in some cases it feels like such a stretch. It feels like you need that miracle. And I'm here to tell you that miracle is on its way, that miracle can happen right now, that miracle is already in your presence, and that a more positive outlook on tomorrow is well within your realm.
In A Course in Miracles, it says the world came about through a thought of separation, and the Holy Spirit, the solution, was given at that same moment has always been there. So you're saying the solution is right there with you.
And it always has been, to your point.
That would be a perspective that A Course in Miracles also promotes, right? The idea that the solution is right there with you. Yeah, it's like it's always a question of how do you word it so that when you're in that situation or someone is in that situation, you're not attacking the person for feeling lost, feeling incapable, not knowing what to do, not able to, feeling like they can't do anything. There's no perspective for them, and so on, because that's one of the things that leads to thoughts of suicide, right? Is this feeling you can't do anything. There's nothing you can change, and it's not worth it, right? Even putting a little effort, or you don't even have the energy to put effort into it. And so the question is, how do we speak to each other? Because we're all in one area or another. Everyone is probably stuck somewhere where they think they can't do anything about it, right? Or can't see it differently.
Yeah. Look, we ask for help. And if there's nobody for us to ask for help, that's where you need faith, a higher power, looking within yourself, meditation, mindfulness, closing your eyes, empowering yourself to change the world around you. Because again, the way you look at the world, change the way you look at the world around you changes. And we've all been there. I've been there, battled with depression, alcohol, substance abuse, and I've found light, and I have found the outcome. And I'm now here speaking, teaching, educating on what that outlook looks like. I think the number one critic for us as human beings is that voice in our head, that negativity. And sometimes that's the first one you need to combat, to say, no, that's not how I'm going to look at today. That's not how I'm going to look at tomorrow. That's not what was for me, is not what's going to be for me. And taking that responsibility to say, I'm not the victim, to say, I am the steward, I am the guide, I am the miracle. And what has happened to me for a reason. And I will use that power and strength that it has given me to overcome whatever that was, to change my future, to help the people around me, and to look forward to a more beautiful day. And that's first and foremost, is for you to have that energy, that power, and feed off it from me. I overflow with this energy. And I hope if you're listening and you're in that place, that this is an opportunity for you to recognize that you're in that place, for you to empower yourself to feel better, for you to empower yourself to make tomorrow better than today, to make later today better than right now, and to focus on that positive outcome, and to give yourself some of that power and strength that we're sharing with you right now, for you to make tomorrow better than today. I think it's huge. I think it's really important. Ask for help. There are definitely people around you. If you're here in the United States, if you're anywhere around the world, there's somebody you can call. There's a helpline that you can offer. There's mental health and mental awareness that can be brought to you. There's nonprofits that are truly here with people that want to help you. Find that help. Ask for help. Put yourself in a position to make tomorrow better than today, and today better than yesterday.
Yeah, and the other aspect of it, that's one way of seeing it, right? Another is that we need to understand that guilt tripping someone for feeling lost and not seeing any perspective is the opposite of what they need. So telling them, oh, you can change it, you can do this, might actually lead to a greater anger, a greater annoyance. And so the gentleness is so important, right? In this,
look,
non-judgmental, or as far as you can go in not judging people for where they're at.
That's not a statement I make by judging. That's not a threat that I make by saying you can change and you can do this. Sometimes we need help. And in everything that we do, we have to meet people where they are.
Yep.
That's it. With empathy, compassion, sympathy, and love. Exactly. Unconditional love for their current situation, their current moment. Hey, I got you. I feel that. I understand it. What can be done to change it, and how can we help you? How can you help yourself? How can we shift the way that you're looking at the world around you, so the world around you can change. It's never done with judgment, and it's never done with expectation. In fact, quite the opposite. Tony Robbins says you got to trade your expectations for appreciation. And when you appreciate what's happening, when you appreciate what's around, again, you're just changing that lens, shifting expectation into appreciation, flipping it on its head, not asking why me, but stating this is why, and finding that strength and that power. And I'm not saying it's easy, and I'm not saying it needs to be done alone. I'm saying it can be done alone. I'm saying it's been done alone by many other people, and we all need to be met where we are, and we all need to find what that path looks like for ourselves, and we all deserve to have it done without judgment, and with support, with love, with gratitude. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why also the statement you made about there's always people who have been through it and have overcome it or have found another way of seeing it, so that they could find value in continuation of their life and in the way they live, right? Yes.
Absolutely.
So that's something one tends to forget when one's in the boots of feeling totally separated and there's no way out, right? And one tends to forget there's people who actually know exactly what you're going through. Yes, there's a lot of people who don't know and don't understand and won't show compassion or understanding. That's true too. But there are so many who do. But we don't find them unless we say, okay, I need help, I want help, I'm willing to talk about it, or I'm willing to share about it.
Getting vulnerable, right? Yeah, we want to compartmentalize and push within the hardship, the struggle, the challenge, the negative self-talk as that's not happening. Instead, you could recognize it and say, no, it is. Let's have a conversation about this, and let's talk about it, and let's be vulnerable, and let's touch on that. Let's touch on what that feels and what that emotion is.
Yeah. And that's why I'm speaking about it. It's how hard it is when feels like, let's say, but that is a statement you might not want to put on it. But anyways, how hard things feel like, how harsh the thoughts are, the feelings, the experience can be to you when you're in the midst of it, and how important it is to actually say, okay, it's fine to come from where I'm at. Because, many of us feel like when we're in that situation, that judgment's coming our way, right? If we say it, okay, I'm feeling like shit, I'm feeling really terrible, then people will run away from us. And that's another thing, is like this idea that our negativity would push people away. It may not be the case, right? It may be exactly the opposite, because I'm willing to share how negative I am and willing to reflect on it and to say, yes, this is the way I'm feeling right now. I'm really angry. I'm really this and that, feeling that way, right? And you might be surprised, or you're sure to be surprised, that there are people who can actually respond in ways that are loving and kind and helpful. Not everyone will, but there are those there.
We got to find the light. We got to find the people, right? I think the saying "misery loves company" is very real. I think like attracts like. So if you're in that negative mindset, sometimes that's what you attract, and that's the people that you find. Sometimes we can't see the light when we're in the darkness. I think that's a really important piece and a really important part of this life experience, that when you change your vibration, to get back to what we do here in inHarmony and why our technology is so powerful, even on an energetic level, when you change your vibration, you change the reflection that you're putting out into the world. You change the way the world looks at you, not just the way you look at the world. And different people will show up, and you will begin to have different life experiences, and you will begin to see different things. So yeah, it's all part of it. And one of, I think, the most profound things that happens with regular vibroacoustic usage, right? Vibroacoustic is vibration, acoustic sound. That's the science that backs up what we do, is that you do change your vibration. you do change the way you show up in the world. You do change the way you reflect to the world, and therefore who reflects back at you. And even if you had somebody that was filled and overjoyed with life, if you're filled with darkness and sadness and all of the emotions associated with that, you might not see their light. You might dim their light from your perspective, even though they're shining as bright as they can to everybody else. There's a lot that goes into this energetically, metaphorically, and in this actual reality as well. It's really beautiful conversation.
I think what's so important to see about it is I can be as negative as I am. That doesn't mean I'm diminishing anyone's light, and that a person needs to feel diminished. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to attract people who are negative, because if I think that way, or attract negative experiences, because there's so much stigma on that. Okay, when you tell someone, okay, if you're going to have these negative thoughts, then there's more coming your way, more awful things. But if I'm going through a hard experience, or something that I experience as hard, I don't want to be told, okay, if I think that way, then I'm going to get more of it, right? Because it's your experience.
I get you don't want to be told that. I can appreciate that you don't want to be told that, but sometimes that's the reality of what happens. And just that knowledge that you can change the way you're looking at that. Look, sometimes it's great to feel the way that you feel that way. Look, Tony Robbins says, and I'm just a fan of what he talks about, but many other people say the same thing. It's okay to suffer, but it's your choice to decide how long you're going to suffer. And that is a choice. We all feel pain. We all feel discomfort. We all feel the way that we feel. And it's okay to feel that way. It's your human experience. You can feel however you want to feel, and you can show up however you want to show up. It's my belief that if you continue down a path of negative thoughts, that you're going to reflect out that energy, and that's what you're going to be presented with. It's very difficult, even when I try and help others, if they don't believe they can be helped, there's very little that I can do. So again, yep.
Let's go into that more deeply. Okay, you're going down a negative rabbit hole, and things are looking bleaker and bleaker and bleaker in your mind, right? But you're willing to speak about it. You're willing to share about it. That is better than it's a different thing than when you're buying into it 100%.
Of course.
Right? So you might be going through that negative rabbit hole, but something in you isn't buying it, right? And that is a difference, a very big difference to this buying into it completely, and then you're attracting more of it, right? But if you have that, there's this spark that can come up that, oh, I don't really believe it. I don't totally believe that, right? Even if I'm saying it and talking about it and this and that, right? And you're trying to convince yourself that it's so negative, right? Let's put it that way, even though you have this in you that's saying no. And that's opening a doorway, right? A doorway to connect, a connection, the ability to connect with others and to get some light in there.
I think it's very easy for us to believe that life is happening to us, that we don't have any control over what's happening around us. And I believe the exact opposite, that life is happening for us and that we have complete control over what's happening around us. And again, I don't say that with judgment. Like if you feel that life is happening to you and that you have no control, that I'm judging that. I'm not. In fact, quite the opposite. I want to spill over and instill in you a little glimmer of hope, to your point, that there is an opportunity for me to feel better, that there is an opportunity for me to make tomorrow a better day than today, that for me to make a minute from now a better minute than the minute that I'm having right now. And it all starts with a little glimmer of a sliver of a positive outlook. And I'm not saying the negative thoughts won't come back. I'm not saying that this is a regular thought pattern that you may need to contend with for your entire existence here on Earth. I'm simply saying that there is an opportunity to make tomorrow better than today and today better than yesterday. And that's the energy that I want I want to instill in other people, again, without judgment. That negative Nancy, that self-talk, it's present for all of us. And it's a beautiful thing. It keeps you alive. It's literally part of the human experience and consciousness that keeps you alive, creating fear around death, creating fear around negativity. Again, no judgment. I want you simply to understand, or I want to plant the seed and allow it to bloom into a beautiful flower and once a powerful tree, that life is happening for you, that there is light, and you can feel that light and then shine that light back. Look, it starts by getting in sunlight and getting outside and feeling that light shining on your skin and picking up on the physical, very real light that this, and not the LEDs that we feel inside, but sunlight on your skin. And it starts with feeling that empowerment. And look, there's tons of different levels to what we're talking about. There's layers to it: mental, emotional, physical, relational, nutritional, financial. There's so many different layers to this. And to your point, I simply want to plant the seed of positivity, plant the seed that you got this, plant the seed. And it might not feel like you do. It might feel as though you're at the depths of despair. And I'm okay with that too. I simply want you to know that it is possible to make things better. It is possible to have a better day tomorrow than you did today, or a better day later today than you have so far. And that positivity, I think, is what I want to be infectious. That positivity and that optimism, that's what I want people to catch on to and spread more of. That unconditional love for the human experience that is so powerful and so important for each and every one of us to feel and know and understand. When the world feels like it's crumbling around us, to find that way for us to rebuild the world around us and make it better and better and better.
Yeah, this is so important to look at, because of course there's all these perspectives that, like a medical system or a psychological system and so on, all have, right? And then there's these spiritual perspectives, and there's so many different ones, right? And there's so many ways to play the guilt game, and that's why I'm speaking about it, is how do we to move out of this guilt game, right? That is so prevalent in so many ways, and this fear game, right? And so even stopping to buy into a little tiny bit of it is already a huge step.
Just hearing this conversation, I think, is a huge step.
Yeah.
We got to meet people where they are. You got to start where you're at. You can't start where you aren't. You can't start from 10 steps ago. You can't start from 10 steps from now. You can only start from right now.
Exactly. That's the power of the present moment and the present experience.
Indeed.
That we've been speaking about throughout the whole episode.
Indeed. Indeed. Super grateful.
Yeah. So, is there anything you would like to add that we haven't spoken about yet?
I am the easiest person to get in touch with. And if you have any questions on anything we've talked about, if you want to talk with me directly, if you want to ask a question, be vulnerable, share your perspective, I would love to hear from you. My phone number is quite literally at the top of my website. I am inHarmony.com. I am being the two most powerful words in the English language, because whatever you put after them, you are. So why not be in harmony with the world around you, which is why we named our company the way we did. My phone number is at the top of my website. It quite literally rings this phone. I answer when it rings, unless I'm obviously in the middle of something or I'm unable to do it. But anybody wants to get in touch with me, Google Craig Goldberg inHarmony, and you'll find 10 different ways to get in touch with me. And I would love to connect, and I'd love to be a resource for you.
Wonderful. That's a beautiful message. And as you see, the podcast is called At Home Is Now. So you need to be at home where you're at right now, because that's the only place you can be at home in, right? The only place and time you can be at home is right now.
That's right.
And
I
so
love it.
whatever your experience is right now, that's where you're at home at the moment. Not that
It's
it
always
means
now.
it's always now, right? And it doesn't mean that it's bad or good. If it's totally negative experience, doesn't mean that you're not allowed to be at home there. Right?
Negative is simply a moral assignment that we give to that experience.
Exactly.
Experiences are not positive or negative. They simply are. How you look at it, to go back to the running theme of this entire episode, change the way you look at the world around you changes. If you find yourself giving something a negative label, what would it look like to flip the script and give it a positive label? I don't know, but that's the question. And that to me is how you begin to change the way you look at whatever it is that's happening. You find yourself giving it a moral label like negative or positive. And I'm here to tell you that it's not negative nor positive. It simply is.
Yeah.
Change the way you look at the world around you changes.
Yeah. And to be where you are at right now is okay. And
Not only is it okay, it's perfect.
Exactly. And so that's
exactly where you're supposed to be.
Yeah. And that makes a huge difference to see it that way or not, right?
100%. I love it. You're exactly where you're supposed to be because that's where you are.
Yep. And so in that sense, I would like to thank all viewers and listeners for being here, for supporting the podcast. Please subscribe to it, let people know about it. And if you want to be a guest on the podcast, please reach out to me. I'd love that, so that more conversations can be heard and experienced and thought about and welcomed into your lives, because we need to know that we're all here and we're all having an experience in this moment that is worth every moment that you're in it.
You only have, life is just a series of moments, to your point.
Yes. So thank you so much, and
Very
blessings to you all.
Thank you.
Until next time.